Unions 21 today have asked to contribute to the debates on resilient unions because since we adopted the GMB at Work National Organising Strategy in 2005, we've grown our total membership by 15%. If you look at the figures we certify to the certification officer and what we affiliate to the TUC, they're exactly the same. And the results of those past 5 years have been that the majority of the recruits have been female. 4 out of 5 of our members are now employed in the service sector industry, and they've largely been recruited by an existing workforce of predominantly male, white trade unionists. However, like every union here today, we share a common aspiration for our members, and we share a common aspiration about what society should look like at large. The only difference is that maybe GMB has sought to achieve those aspirations and address the same challenges that we face in a slightly different manner. Before I outline aspects of the organising policy, I think it's worth reflecting on the fact that many of the challenges that we faced 5 years ago are the same challenges that unions face today and have faced as well. We had a decline in membership, we were in deep financial trouble, we were under the threat of merger, we thought that a change of government would solve our problems. We created a competitive sales culture amongst our officers towards recruitment. We fostered a consumer unionism amongst our members in relation to the provision of services. We had endless organising versus servicing debates. We blamed Thatcher, we blamed the children, we blamed the law, we blamed the media, we blamed pretty much everyone for the dire financial straits that we were in as a union. The one key principle of GMB at Work is that we stopped blaming other people and started to actually look at our own role in that. As a result, we decided to not blame anyone else, and we decided that if we got ourselves into that mess, then we could get ourselves out of it. Fine words, I appreciate, but it was a long plan that was developed. Paul Kenny was elected on accountability, growth and democracy. To be accountable, we needed to be honest. So we stopped telling the union movement that we had 700,000 members. We culled tens of thousands of members, dead members, cash payers, lapsed members off our membership lists. We affiliated for the total amount of members that are financially in the union. We said to staff, we don't have the income of 700,000 members. We can't hire our way out of this problem. So we needed to ask staff and officers to do more with what we had. So as part of that change, we had to involve them in the process. We asked officers, what can you do better, and how can you do it better, and how can we help you? It's not easy. Not every officer understood where we were going. Not every officer was involved. Some weren't quite sure. It's the politics of organisational change. We all understand it. But what we did to them is we did say, it's about collective responsibility. If you are prepared to be involved in changing the union, we'll give you a voice. But if you're not prepared to take responsibility for that voice, not prepared to take responsibility for those actions, then this project will fail. The officers and staff came to the table. They were asked about how they would change things. The clearest message we got back from officers was that the endless debate about servicing versus organising needed to end. The responsibility for growing the union and for maintaining it had to be recognised as a false division. And we actually had to say that everyone has a collective responsibility for the survival of the GMB. Pretty obvious in some respects, but we're talking about a trade union with a lot of history, a lot of internal politics. We all know that. We all have the same in our own organisations. So it was a very slow process of buying in, getting involvement, and making sure that that change occurred. So the result was that we've been able to achieve growth without actually necessarily hiring any extra people, without actually devoting any extra resources towards recruitment, which is somewhat of a challenge to the idea that growth is directly linked and correlated to investment. We also need to look at the way we run our union. You know, the criticism of GMB about regional barons is quite true. So we turned around and said, we now have an all-member-led executive, and in return for regional secretaries now making operational decisions about the national union, they also have a collective responsibility for ensuring those decisions are implemented. Slowly but surely, trying to turn the GMB from a regional autocracy into a national union. All of these changes have been necessary in order to set the framework for GMB at Work. They've taken time, they've not necessarily worked as we thought, but as I said, the results have been pretty good. In terms of organising and our national strategy, the paper that Martin Smith prepared is really our foray into the politics of organising. It's pretty blunt in some respects, and it's probably quite a challenge to some of the ways of work in the broader TUC. But we would have been doing a disservice to our members if we'd gilded the lily. For us, the organising debate was pretty much settled in 2005. As you'll see from the paper, five quite clear principles about how we organise. Firstly, as Carl and Paul have alluded to already, we see that workplaces are building a block of the union. We're not sure how you can build a sustainable union from the top down. Industry first, then by workplace. It's pretty simple stuff for us, but it's been effective. As I said, we go out into workplaces and we're quite fortunate. We're meeting a lot of people who have never been union, like a lot of unions here. But by actually focusing on the things that matter to them initially, in their workplace, we've got school support staff from Hampshire schools joining, we have ASDA workers joining union, and we have people who work in care homes joining the union. They're not joining because of solidarity with banana workers in middle America. They're joining because we're just talking to them initially about the things that really matter to them. We took a conscious decision that we needed to make sure that every workplace was organised as if there was an industrial analogy. Now, it's not about conflict. It's just about what we need to know as a union and an organisation about our workplaces. As you know, coming up to a ballot, we need to know who does what, who's in the union, who's not, what the issues are, and you're generally in a state of constant communication with your membership. We want our workplaces to be that well organised, day in, day out, as if next week they were going to have to balance their members. The third one is pretty simple. We believe the employer has a different interest than our members. It's not about conflict again, it's just about a straight fact that we think that problems that our members experience at work are by and large caused by employers. How we get around that, well, that's a different issue. We're not here to say we'll never work with an employer. It's just that our default setting is that we want our members to know where we stand, what we stand for, and if we're going to stand to support them first and foremost. The fourth point, the process of industrial relations builds a union. Again, it should be self-evident, but from our point of view, every time we run a campaign, every time there's a dispute, every time there is conflict in the workplace, if we are standing beside our members and promoting their point of view and seeking to resolve the issues that matter to them, they join, and their colleagues join, and we grow, because they see a very clear defining point between us and the employer in that instance. And for us, that's been important. And I think it's also a reflection, if you will, on the broader malaise. We all know about the union wage premium, and it's a pretty good example of the benefits of trade unionism. But it hasn't encouraged people to join. People don't join trade unions because we get them something. People haven't joined out of gratitude necessarily. If they would, they'd already be members and we wouldn't need to be in this process of reviewing the future and how we take things forward. And finally, it's the most important point potentially for the GMB is that people strongly organise themselves. It's, again, another back to basics point. It's whether you're a diverse workforce, whether you're predominantly female, whether you're part-time, the common factor is that the workers themselves make decisions, as the Minister talked about, and as others have alluded to, that they make decisions about how they take things forward. And if they are prepared to organise themselves and they are given the authority and the power, then we think that they will do the business, and we think that they're very well placed to actually take the union forward in their workplace. They're not into the employer, they're not into an industry, and so on and so forth. We have made a commitment to our members who volunteer as workplace organisers that we will support them, we will train them, we will provide all the resources necessary for them to grow the union in their workplace. In return, we've outlined for them what we would like from them. We've developed a small job description to detail what it is we would like our workplace organisers to do. If you like, we've established a small contract. And it's working. And it seems to be that people are responding to the fact that we're giving them power, we're giving them authority, and we're giving them the licence to go ahead and run the union in their workplace. It's a small step for them, it's a small step for us, and there's a long way to go. But as the others have said, there's elements here that have worked for us. They may not work for yourselves, but nonetheless, we hope that they're a good contribution to the debate about organising and about the direction of trade. Thank you.